Hello. In today's video, we're going to be going over the new visuals that were brought into the game yesterday, and we're also going to be covering the recent dev feedback and dev Q&A. I was planning on doing a video about the patch notes themselves. However, right after I finished this video and was about to upload it, the developers came out with this new notice board post here. So this is probably more visually pleasing for the video. If you would like to see the full patch notes video, I'll have that unlisted in the description. And I also have a quick patch notes version just covering this in I think 3 or 4 minutes. So if you're interested in that, feel free to skip to the timestamp on screen here. One thing I would like to cover before we get into the notice board is the legendary hero Bahorn event. So $7 Canadian or whatever it is for your own currency. Kind of rough, but it is a good hero, so I guess it does make sense. We will have to wait and see if this hero is available in the Wheel of Destiny tomorrow or not, so I'm kind of holding off on making my judgment until then. But the game adding 2 pay-gated heroes within the course of I think 2.5 or 3 weeks isn't very good. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the notice board and take a look at this illustration here. And there is also the official developer video that you can go ahead and check out. I guess I'll have that linked in the description as well, why not? So the first event here is the mating season event. Select 2 epic or lower war pets to mate with a chance of creating an offspring with a higher attributes and rarity. So it says the base attributes will fall between these ranges. I don't know if these ranges are the normal ranges. I don't think so though. Yeah, definitely not, because the normal ranges could go down to 30 or 40 or something. So this is interesting, and it shows the probability of different amounts of skill slots, which is cool. So an epic and a rare or elite war pet in this case has a 5% chance of being 8 slots. So it'll definitely be nice, or definitely be nice to try and get a better war pet for something you're trying to upgrade by doing it this way. Now, I wonder if these guys are going to come with skills. I imagine they won't, but I imagine they will. But if they won't, that'll be pretty interesting. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue with the notice board here. So we have a new epic skin, which is 5% cavalry attack. This is really good that they're adding this skin, because previously the only cavalry attack skin was the Northern Wind skin. And yeah, it's definitely good to see them adding another skin for this stat. Of course, I would also like to see a magic or marksman HP attack skin come to an event like this, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And while we're here, might as well take a look at the Crown of Light city theme, which is pretty cool. 10% cavalry HP. You can't actually see the animation here, so I'm going to go ahead and overlay a GIF here on screen so that you can see the animation. It's pretty nice. Continuing with the post though, we have the new nameplate, the new avatar frame, and the new decoration. These are all coming from the Heights of Power event, which is interesting. At least I believe they are. If they're coming from somewhere else, that could be good as well. I'm not looking forward to this very much because, as you can see, I don't have very many speed ups. And this is also part of the new update, a new speed up calculator and a new resource calculator. These are both pretty awesome to have in game. Continuing with the notice board here, this is the Back to the Battlefield event. It looks like you can invite 5 players back, and every time you invite a player you get 1 universal token, a ramped up amount of gems. It looks like 500 or 200 or something, and then 1,000 at the end. So pretty minimal rewards, but if you got a few people to invite back, you can pick up some gems and gold heads, so why not? And this is definitely the most interesting part of this event. The arms exchange event, which we had previously had in Season 1, only allowed you to exchange up to Tier 3 units, but now with this you're able to exchange up to Tier 5 units, and you can exchange 500 of each unit type per tier, which is pretty crazy. What I am wondering is if you will be able to exchange for unit types you don't already have unlocked? The answer is probably not, but still, this is great, at least for exchanging tier 4 units. For example, I'm likely going to exchange 500,000 tier 4 cavalry for 500,000 tier 4 celestials. I don't know what my plan is with the tier 5 units. I don't know if I want more archers or if I want more vestals, but I'm definitely going to get rid of my 5,000 tier 5 swordsmen because they're just kind of out of place and annoying at this point, and they don't really have that much field effectiveness when there's only 5,000 of them. So this is an awesome event, and definitely in the future, for the next anniversary, I'm going to prepare 500,000 tier 3 units. That way I can promote those to celestials, and maybe I'll do that with tier 1s and tier 2s as well. Just depends on what I'm doing and what troop types I'm using, but like for example with knights here, I can definitely afford to train tier 3 knights because I don't use them in the field at all, ever. So yeah, like why not? And then if I train 500,000 of these, I can make them into 500,000 tier 3 celestials and then upgrade them. That would be pretty damn good. Okay, moving on, we can now go to the exchange coin multiplier reset, which is pretty good for spenders, and I'm happy that this is actually being reset because, yeah, people need it to buy resources and skills and things. I think it resetting once a year is definitely more than fair for free-to-play. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and people are going to need this in order to buy the intense puncture skill that's now in game. That's double price ceiling and almost triple price ceiling up here. I think this skill goes up to being like 960 coin cost, so yeah, people definitely need some more pet coins in order to be able to afford these skills. So good job on the devs. And moving on, I think we have just a couple of more things left in this illustration. We have the new migration system. So let's go ahead and read this. Realm migration scores and personal migration scores are publicly displayed. Special migration has been changed from a quota-based system to a score-based system. And I believe that there is somewhere in game to check your migration score. So you can go to your Flame Dragon, click Privileges, click Migration Management, and then this button here, and that will show you the top 400 players' migration score. I find it crazy that my migration score is 17 and the cap is like 21, or at least for players in our kingdom the cap is 21. So wow, but hey, I guess this is interesting to see. This is also good to see because when you have like inactive players that you're not sure are contributing or not to the server capacity, it's nice to have a guarantor here. Oh, you actually can't even see the top 400. It only goes down to rank 100. So that is definitely not ideal. This needs to show the top 400. But this is definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm happy to see that for sure. So it looks like a pretty good new system. I guess that the migration permits are still going to work the same way as they did before. So that's good, but I do find it interesting that, like, I don't know, what, Stoneland counts as 21 points, and I count as 17. Not sure about that. They count as 4 more points, even though they're 100 million power higher than me. Maybe that needs to be reworked a little bit, but I guess we'll see. It's a good system, I think, that they're working towards, and you know, it's expected for there to be some mistakes along the way. But yeah, it seems pretty cool. Players can migrate to realms midway through the season and enter the new season map, but some actions will be restricted. This is especially good because you can migrate to the season that you want to go to, even if they're in a KVK while you're in home kingdom. That way you don't have to wait until you are in a KVK and they're in home kingdom and then abandon the KVK that you're in, which is unfortunate. Okay, the High King can set restrictions on power for migration and approve or deny applicants. Good. From Season 2 onwards, the High King can discharge players from the realm, provided they are not within the top 150 in the last season's merit rankings. The High King must provide migration permits and dragon tickets to discharge players as compensation. So, not great. And there's been a lot of feedback in the Discord about this, of course. One of the main points of feedback is that if they are going to do this, they do need to allow players in the kingdom to chip into a pool. Because if this all comes out of the High King's pocket, nobody is going to want to be High King. Or the High King title is going to have to be like altered around or rotated around to 10, 15 different people. That way, you know, people don't go crazy with having to spend a certain amount of money. I think that I could have come up with a much better system for this, but at least they finally are adding a way to deport people, which is good. And yeah, climb to the heights of power, increase your power during this event, and the top 10 ranking lords will receive new legendary city decorations. City theme, yeah. You'll also be able to complete quests by increasing your power and receive seals of power that you can exchange for legendary city decorations, special cosmetic effects, hero tokens, select fruit boxes, and more. This is painful. This is really painful because I did not save any speed ups for this event as I showed earlier. So yeah, I might not be able to do very well in this event, but we'll see. And here's the new legendary hero, Bahorn. I mean, he looks cool, overall PvP skills. He's got some pretty good kit. I guess we can go ahead and take a look at his kit real quick, even though I'm not necessarily a hero expert. Pretty good damage factor. It's diffuse damage to 3 targets, so that's pretty nice. This buff here is awesome. Flying legions gain 20% march speed, and the legion ignores enemy attack and deals enemy attack. So this is like really good for farm killing, basically. Then we have this one here, which has a specific stat for each unit type. So a general 10% defense bonus. Infantry counterattack is buffed by 15%. Cavalry damage dealt is buffed by 6%. Marksman normal attack damage dealt is buffed by 20%, which is kind of crazy. And magic unit damage taken reduction is an additional 10%. So this unit is definitely designed for marksman and I guess maybe infantry, but this will probably be used for flying marksman or flying cavalry, obviously, for farm killing, which is pretty cool. And then this is a passive skill. Upon taking damage, Legion loses 50 rage, deals damage to the target Legion, damage factor 300, and gains resistance, damage taken minus 4% for 5 seconds, or minus 10% for 5 seconds. Effect can trigger once every 15 seconds. I'm not a fan of losing rage. This hero seems to really like losing rage and giving other people rage, but I guess that's just kind of how he's built. It'll be interesting to see some testing with this hero, although I think that testing will be kind of difficult, since he's definitely more of like a high micro open fielder, it would seem, with a 20% march speed and it being a flying hero as well. Then for the awakening skill, after casting exhaust fumes, which skill was that? Exhaust fumes is the rage skill. After casting exhaust fume, the Legion gains normal attack focused, normal crit rate plus 30% for 5 seconds. So as an archer, this guy is going to absolutely destroy. Plus 30% crit rate after its active skill, and plus 20% normal attack damage dealt bonus. Pretty crazy, but once again, this hero is pay-gated. So maybe he'll be in the Wheel of Destiny. Hopefully he will be. We'll just have to wait and see. And if we go back into the notice board, should be pretty close to being finished here. We have the new Barbed Manticore, which I think it seems pretty good. I haven't actually caught any, and I won't be catching any since I'm not an archer player, focusing on getting a 3-star Seraphic Fade Drake right now. But yeah, I guess that this is a cool addition to the game, and it works well with the new heroes. And the skill cost is crazy high. So improved stamina expenditure. It's just like for instances where you were losing stamina and you probably shouldn't have. If you want, you can pause the video here. I'll like blow this up so the text is a little bit bigger. That way it is easier to see. Then the elixir capacity limit is increased from 8 hours of capacity to 10 hours of capacity. Policies will be changed accordingly. That way it's not actually a buff. It's just a buff when you don't have policies. So I guess that's fine. And this is also nice for, getting an extra couple of hours of sleep. I think that 10 hours is probably good. Maybe you could make an argument to go up to 12 hours. But realistically, like 99% of players can probably hop on once every 10 hours to spend their elixir. And the resource statistics, we showed that earlier. It's very nice that they finally added a calculator in game. I'm not sure how I feel about the stats or these speedups here being grayed out, but I guess that's okay. As you can see, we have a pretty ridiculous amount of building speedups, 89 days. So hopefully we'll be able to exchange some of those at the start of our next KVK. And our KVK is starting in 3.5 hours. So I gotta edit this real quick and get it out there. And you can see our Brink of War here, BDO in first, Echo in second. I think that's WoW in third, and then ASC in fourth. We got 5th place for the March speed buff, which is obviously what we wanted. And yeah, we got some exciting PvP coming up. Should be a bunch of fun here. So now what I'm going to do is go through the developer Q&A here and the feedback in the Discord server. And in the background, I will go ahead and put in some PvP footage from our show match event. So hopefully you enjoyed the patch notes here. I guess what I will do actually first here is do the quick patch notes with PvP in the background, and then I will swap over to the developer Q&A and the dev feedback. Skip to the timestamp on screen here to go to the Q&A. Here are the quick patch notes for the 1.0.36 update to Call of Dragons, which will be launching on March 20th, 2025. The Heights of Power event is going to award 10 legendary city themes to the top 10 players, and you will also be able to collect Seals of Power in this event to obtain legendary decorations, cosmetic effects, hero tokens, war pet fruit, and more. High Kings will now have the ability to dispel players from the realm that did not rank within the top 150 by merits in the previous season, but they will have to compensate them with migration permits and dragon tickets. An in-game calculator has been added to automatically calculate how many resources and speed-up items you have in your inventory. In the Proving Grounds for Ancestor statues, all members of a warband will have their points cumulatively tallied, and the warband with the most points will receive the buff. All alliances that are in that warband at the time of the buff will gain access to that buff. If you change warband, you will lose the buff. If you rejoin, you will regain the buff. If you are not in a warband when the buff is won, your warband will not gain the buff if you rejoin the warband at a later date. Ancestor statues now also give war pet recovery speed. That way there is no offset or difference between the recovery speed of your heroes and war pets. Players that are entering Season of Strife for the first time will be automatically registered for a predetermined scenario. After your first Season of Strife situation, the High King will have the option to register for the next one or skip registration. A new migration score system has been added to the game. This will publicly show a realm and personal migration score. That way you're able to see how full a kingdom is, or I believe that is how it will work. There is also no longer going to be a special migration system. It is a quota. It will work in a different way. And people will also be able to migrate to a kingdom that is currently in a KVK. However, the things that they can do while in that kingdom until that KVK ends is limited. And there's also a new approval system for the High King, which is very welcome indeed. A new hero is being added to the game, Bahorn, who is an overall PvP skills hero, will be available in the legendary Bahorn event. A new war pet, the Barbed Manticore, is being added to the game, which is a marksman fighter skills war pet. The Oath of the Storm Peak artifact has had a bug fixed and has also been buffed. When cast, the legions in battle will no longer leave battle, and the clone will inherit any buffs that the original March had. There was a bug in the Wolf Howl Horn artifact skill description that has been improved. An absolute ton of events that are being added in the new anniversary celebration. These events include Mating Season, Joyful Feast, Lucky Flip, Magical Memories, Arms Exchange, Artifact Throwback, Dawngrad Banquet, Alliance Quiz, Automaton Raid, Heights of Power, Exchange Coin Multiplier Resets, Back to the Battlefield Pet Party, and Chance Encounters. In the new Mating Season event, you can select 2 epic or below war pets to produce an offspring with a high chance of a higher rarity and better attributes. In the new Back to the Battlefield event, you can recall players back to the game who have not logged in for at least 14 days to both gain amazing rewards. The skill description for Vitality Boost in the Alliance skills has now been changed to clarify that it cannot be triggered again for 48 hours upon activation. A new secondary password has been added for authentication inside of your account to stop players from releasing war pets, regenerating war pets, learning and upgrading war pet skills, pet feeding, and unlocking war pets. Boost items have now been improved, allowing you to use several 8-hour or 24-hour boost items at once, up to a time duration of 7 days. If a buff is currently active when the day resets and a quest requires that buff, the quest will be automatically completed. Merit calculation changes have been made to allow support heroes and artifacts to gain more merits. This is going to be really interesting to see how this works. Some changes have been added to the way that stamina is used in the game. If you'd like to read about this, feel free to pause here. The automatic enemy search logic for March attack mode has been improved, which should make it much more effective. A marker for the Shadow Dragon will now be clearly shown on the Season 3 and Season of Strife 4 map, allowing you to more easily tell where exactly it is. The elixir capacity limit has been increased from 8 hours to 10 hours, allowing you to sleep just a little bit more. If you enjoyed watching those quick patch notes, I would encourage you to like the video and subscribe for future patch notes and other content as well as sharing this video with other people that you think would get value from watching these quick patch notes. If you hadn't seen, I did also make a YouTube short version of these patch notes, which took a lot of time, along with the editing of this video as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, please be sure to share it with others. Thank you. Alright, and now to move on to the 15th developer Q&A, and hopefully you are enjoying the PvP footage that is in the background. Okay, so we are going to skip a lot of the nonsense and filler in these Q&As and dev feedbacks and just address the actual points. So the first question is, the High King skill system is too complicated at the moment. Will you be simplifying it the same way you did the title reservation? I don't think that this is an actual concern, but let's go ahead and read their answer. We have received a lot of positive feedback from players following the introduction of the title reservation system. We've also received a few suggestions which we'll take into consideration as we continue to improve the system. At the same time, we'll also be looking at the title reservation system as a model for improving the High King skill system, reducing the day-to-day burden on players. These improvements are still in the planning stage, so thank you for your patience and support while we figure things out. I don't really understand this answer. I think the only thing that they need to do is allow the king or allow the consort, I believe is the person who's able to use skills, allow either of them to just have a schedule. So say tomorrow at 16:30 UTC, I would like this skill to be used automatically, unless otherwise interrupted. That seems pretty straightforward to me, and it would be pretty easy to implement, especially since only 1 or 2 people in the kingdom would have access to that at any given time. It's not like the title system where everyone in the kingdom typically has access to it. Now, this next question actually is relevant. The question is, I really enjoy the camp-based gameplay. Will you be retaining it in future? Well, in the future, I guess. Camp-based gameplay was a unique feature of Season of Strife 3. We appreciate that it has been very popular among players. At the moment, we have no plans to introduce it to other seasons currently in progress, but considering its popularity, we will be looking into ways to expand it in the future, allowing players to collaborate more effectively. Okay, so the person that is writing these needs to throw a few more thes in there, but other than that, this is a pretty good answer. I think that it is logical to not introduce it to existing formats, but to have a new format where this is blended in would be very nice. I think that probably 90% or maybe 80% of players enjoy the camp-based gameplay. Now, this question is a bit interesting. A lot of players in my alliance weren't satisfied with the rewards in the Smash the Shadows event. Will you be changing them? Thank you for your suggestion. We're aware of a number of issues with the Smash the Shadows event. We've increased the amount of damage Shadow Forts deal to players to ensure that more players can take part in rallies and gain rewards. Going forward, there are 2 issues we are working to deal with. Issue 1. Players have been unable to claim rewards as they were unable to deal damage, despite their alliance being victorious. This issue will be fixed in 1.0.37. Players who join the event but do not deal damage will be able to take part and claim rewards upon switching to another alliance. So if you get screwed in the first alliance, you would go to a different alliance. Okay. And point 2, some players have told us that joining event rallies can be time consuming. We have plans to introduce an auto rally feature to allow offline players to automatically take part in events. That's ridiculous. I think that you should just give people free stuff. I don't know how that would work. That sounds like terrible. If people are auto rallying and marching like 9 minutes from their city in order to get into a rally, this is not a good idea. That won't work. But okay. However, these changes are still in the planning stage. We'll let you know as soon as the plans are finalized and features become available. Point 2 needs to go back to the drawing board for sure. Next question. Are you going to buff G3 magic heroes? Answer. Hero power balancing has been a constant concern for us. We understand that some players believe that G3 magic heroes are underpowered as they have been less efficient in obtaining merits over the same time frame. Through long-term data analysis, looking at damage ratios, merit gains, and other factors, we have concluded that G3 magic heroes' combat performance is satisfactory. As a result, we have no plans to make changes to G3 magic heroes in the near future. We will continue to monitor performance for all heroes, including G3 magic heroes, and make appropriate balancing changes whenever heroes prove to be over or underpowered in combat. Yes, Magrat definitely is underpowered. I feel like Magrat should be buffed. Can we get a question on that, please? I feel like a lot of the concerns for G3 magic heroes being underpowered is just because Lilia is so good. I mean, Lilia Thea still outdamages G3 magic heroes. Lilia Velen still outdamages G3 magic heroes. Maybe unless you like fully awaken Thalia Thunderlin. Maybe they do more, but I don't think so. It's a weird situation, but hey, they're not going to change it. So we just have to keep huffing copium and hope that the G4 magic heroes are good. Surely G4 magic heroes will be good. Yeah, I'm gonna die of old age before we get good mage heroes, I guess, for free to play. Alright. For the next question, will you make resource statistics and storehouses visible? Resource statistics feature is now complete and will be included as part of v1.0.36's update. Also adds statistics for speed up items. I think that what this means is like the amount of protected resources, but it might also just be for like the amount of tokens that you currently have. We'll see. Next question. The search feature in Roots of War is troublesome. Will you be making improvements to it? As of v1.0.36, the search feature is no longer case sensitive and also allows you to search using user ID. Awesome. Next question. After constant battles in KVK, I find that I do not have enough elixir to heal my units when I return to my home realm. Will you take steps to remedy this? Answer. We've received a lot of suggestions from players regarding the healing system, and we understand that a lot of players would like to see some improvements. Due to the system's impact on balance in various gameplay modes and events, we are going to need more time to rethink the system as a whole. We'll let you know as soon as our plans for improvements are finalized. This sucks. I think their concern is maybe like strongest lord merit gain stage, because there is a strongest lord when you're in home kingdom, or there could be several strongest lords when you're in home kingdom, where if you're able to heal a lot with your KVK policies, that could be a bit of an issue with like people feeding one player from their kingdom, but so what? Like, okay. The easiest solution to this is to, as I suggested, I believe even in my last video it might have been, or maybe it was a little while ago, KVK policies should be retained until the next Brink of War starts. Is that simple. When Brink of War starts, you can wipe out policies. Wiping out policies then will get rid of any like extra CP generation policy there is or something like that would help with the Brink of War stages, but it'll also allow you to heal your troops a lot faster before that. That seems like a really good fix to me. And yeah, that seems pretty straightforward. Hopefully
that is something that they would consider implementing. All right, and that's all for the developer Q&A. The reason why I didn't make a individual video on this is that I didn't feel like it was quite warranting of its own video. You can maybe stretch this out to be like 10 or 15 minutes long if you like really go into depth on all of the points, but there's 7 questions here? Yeah, 7 questions, so you gotta do a lot of stretching in order to make a video out of that. With that being said, let's go ahead now and move on to the dev feedback that was posted on Discord. And once again, hopefully you were enjoying this PvP footage from the 30 versus 30 invitational event, where a bunch of content creators from the international server and some content creators from other games as well fought against the players from a Chinese server. It was a ton of fun. There's a lot of other videos about this, which I might link some of them down below if you're interested in watching. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. Anyways, let's go on to the dev feedback. Alright, now for the dev feedback of January and February. Achievement system data synchronization. Retroactively sync pre-update data, login streaks, Dark Legion kills, resource gathering to the new achievement system to recognize past progress. Thank you for your feedback. We understand that past progress is especially valued by old players, and we thank you for your long-term dedication. Fortunately, some data before the launch of the achievement system is irretrievable. However, we will check and confirm what data is retained and then consider making some additions to the achievement system. Okay, well, one way that you could do this is you could add a button beside the achievement that the player will be able to click to resynchronize their data, especially for things like resource gathering and daily logins. This would be extremely easy. It wouldn't be entirely accurate since the number in the daily logins thing, I don't think that accurately reflects how many days you've actually logged in, especially if you missed a couple of days. But it would at least be an improvement on top of the, like 600 days that have been missed for the majority of players. So hopefully that gets changed, or they look into that more. Hero balance adjustments. Buff underperforming G3 infantry, elk riders, G3 mages. So we already heard the thing about mages, so we can skip that. But for G3 infantry and elk riders, we have slated their adjustments in the next quarter without a definitive patch at the moment. We'll have more information for you in the future. So the next quarter will mean before the end of the 6th month of the year, which would mean before the end of June. Allow alliances within the same ward camp to join the same warband for faster reinforcements. Dev response. Thank you for your feedback and suggestions. The Warcamp system is a SOS3 feature that we don't want to have an impact on the existing warband mechanics. Please rest assured we might keep exploring ways to deepen the Warcamp system in future seasons. So this is saying that for now they're not planning to change SOS3, but they might think about it in the future. I don't know if their Warcamp or allied Warcamp should be in the same warband as you. It kind of defeats the purpose of warband rewards, but I don't know. Or Warcamp rewards, I guess, but I don't know. It would be good to be able to share rewards with your allies, I guess, is the point that a lot of people are trying to make with the warband rewards. Is what it is. Post-season healing elixir production acceleration. Boost post-KVK elixir production to improve the Battle Abyss experience. People aren't really saying this. I think what they're more so saying is just allow us to heal our troops while we're in home kingdom so that we're ready when the next KVK starts. But yeah, also being able to actually participate in Battle Abyss would be nice, instead of only being able to participate every few days. For example, let's hop back in game real quick. We're gonna end out of this PvP footage for a few seconds. So I did one Battle Abyss yesterday. If we go ahead and click here, you see I did one Battle Abyss yesterday at 0 UTC, so the earliest I could have possibly done it. My hospital was completely empty when I did it, and as you can see, I still have 1.1 million troops in the hospital. Imagine if I wanted to do 2 Battle Abysses or 3 Battle Abysses at the same time, like during the same day. Imagine if I wanted to do Battle Abyss more often, instead of only having done it a single time during Home Kingdom. You just don't really have the elixir production to be able to afford that. I can do 1 Battle Abyss every like 7 days, for 6 days or something ridiculous like that. You just can't participate in it enough for it to be fun or even really worth doing. You get 20 regeneration potions and 2 gold medals. Like, sure, thanks, but also it's such a, I don't know. I guess it's only 15 minutes of your time, but it would be nice if we were just able to heal our troops for it. Anyways, back to the dev feedback. It's a bit weird. So, thank you for your feedback. Catering to shorter seasons, we are planning to adjust the free healing production in the future. Though it's not a change that is dedicated to Battle Abyss, since we are focusing on overall improvements to this new game mode, you may feel how it influences your experience. In previous R5 Q&A, we mentioned that there are potentially special Battle Abyss events after the mode is stable. Appreciate your understanding. It'd be interesting if this was like a tournament style thing, which I think is what they might be hinting at. And that'd be pretty cool if they did that instead of like the Roots of War League or something, which, you know, has allegedly been on its way for years. But yeah, a new event mode for this would be cool. But in general, I just don't think that Battle Abyss should sev wound your troops. It should just be something that you get to do for fun, similar to how Roots of War doesn't sev wound your troops. Imagine if it did, that would be ridiculous. Alright, moving on. So the next point here is about the hiking relocation of inactive players. We're just going to have to wait to see how this works once it's in-game, since it's a little bit unclear at the moment. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that one here and move on to the next question, or the next piece of dev feedback. Seasonal policy concerns. Dev response. Thank you for your feedback. We have addressed this problem with care. The policies only took effect on the test server and will not be applied to the new season. Oh yes, I think what this is talking about is the 5 million troop cap for diligence. That got some people pretty upset. So yeah, it definitely makes sense that they would post this here. I think that's what that's in reference to. Yeah, alright. Row registration system optimization. This is just a repetition of what was in the Q&A. And this is kind of a reason why I don't like the dev feedback and the dev Q&A, because it's pretty much the same thing. Like 50% of both of them is the same. I feel like they need to do some more quality control here or something to try to get more unique questions, but I don't know. And for the last question, glory system. Add glory points to distinguish genuine battle contributions from stat padding. Dev response. Thank you for your feedback, from which we have acknowledged your wish for a fairer way to exhibit players' contributions. However, the glory system is not the solution, as it cannot distinguish behavior such as farming merits through friendly PvP. We will consider your needs and look for ways to address your concerns. Thank you for your understanding. Call of Dragons team. So yeah, a lot of people would like a way to distinguish merit farming from a real PvP, myself included, even though I do merit farm quite a bit. I only ever merit farm when my hospital is completely empty and there's no actual fighting to be had, but in my KVKs that's happened to be quite a lot of the time. It would be great if there was a system to distinguish this, and there would also be it would be great if there was a way to distinguish what type of kills people get between tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I find it absolutely ridiculous that we don't have this yet, when it's been in Rise of Kingdoms for who knows how long, and it just seems to be such a popular request. Doesn't really make any sense to me that we don't have the ability to see the tiers of units people have killed. I don't know. It's a bit weird. Well, that was it for the dev Q&A and the dev feedback. Definitely a few interesting things in there. And for the ending of this PvP footage, we'll show, yeah, some of the last little bit of chip damage on the tower there, and the tower finally falling. We did end up winning that 30v30 show match. That was a bunch of fun. And I did some interesting little plays, like with the staff play, and just trying to like circle around, I think with cavalry marches at some point, just to try to get a little bit of extra chip damage in on their tower, because we only ended up taking down their tower with, I believe it was like 3 minutes left on the 2-hour timer. So we were just barely able to get it down in time, and all the little chip damage that we ended up doing ended up being, I think, what made the difference. Maybe not us personally, but everyone getting a little bit of chip damage in over time definitely seemed to swing the tides of the battle. That was a ton of fun, and hopefully you enjoyed watching this bit of PvP footage here. This footage is from the live stream that I did. That live stream, we'll put that down in the description along with some other videos of this, or live streams of this if I can find them. Since this was cool and I don't know how many people actually watched it, and if you didn't, it might make sense, or it might be fun to go and watch some of that PvP footage, especially if you're interested in that. Well, there isn't anything else currently going on as far as PvP, since most people are just in the beginning stages of their KVK at the moment. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was definitely a long one. It's going to take a little while to edit, so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And most of these changes and most of the things that developers were talking about were good. There's a couple of things that suck, and hopefully that new hero, Bahorn, or if that was his name, hopefully that's accessible for everyone and not locked behind a paywall like Muziang. I don't think it will be, since it's not an upgradable hero like Muziang that kind of had the ability to be paywalled a lot easier, since even now if you go into your heroes, you're able to click this button to spend money on her to upgrade her. So hopefully, yeah, the Bahorn hero will be able to be obtained for free. If Bahorn ends up being really good somehow, I might end up spending my G3 tokens on him, so I'm still saving my G3 tokens for now. However, I probably won't, since I don't think I have enough tokens to maybe get them to like 5511. We'll see. Anyways, this was a interesting little video here. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.